Do you guys have your Halloween costumes yet? Or are you being anything or not doing anything?
I always am so last minute on this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have any like Halloween parties to go to, so I don't think I'm dressing up.
Yeah. I don't know if I care.
I used to be a big Halloween girl.
I love like Halloween, but like I don't like dressing up.
Really?
If that makes sense. Like I like decorating, I like the spooky stuff, I like Halloween movies, and I like, handing out candy and all that, but yeah, I don't like spending a bunch of money on a costume that I'm going to wear for 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah. Did you like it as a kid?
Yeah. But it wasn't my money.
Facts.
I remember one Halloween in kindergarten. This is like so vivid. I got sick and I was so excited for my costume. I was literally devastated. Like, and in kindergarten, you're like the whole day is all Halloween themed.
Yeah.
Like, we were like supposed
so
to do
fun.
like candy apples, like apple bobbing, like all the like everything. And I was violently ill. And it was just
and Halloween's so new when you're only 5. It's like the whole world. That's sad.
I know.
That is so sad. I love dressing them.
What are you dressing up as?
Wait, what did you just say though?
I said your biggest regret was getting sick.
Oh,
Halloween in kindergarten.
Waiting for you to say. I like dressing up. I've always liked dressing up, but my thing, like I never went to like Spirit Halloween and just picked out a costume in a bag. Like my mom always was like, we'd go to the thrift store and pick out different pieces, or she'd be like making things, or like I would use clothes I already had too. Like I never just like picked a specific costume out of a bag.
I like that.
But now I like it because I like the dogs dressing up and stuff too.
Yeah.
But then it also, I think with Instagram and stuff, it feels like pressure to have them dress up or to like make a video and take pictures of them every year. But then I was also thinking about it like they only have a certain amount of Halloweens, and then like what if I just skip a year and then that's like they only got so many Halloweens. So many costumes.
I feel like Willow always just has like they have the same basic dog costumes every year. So it's I'll put her taco costume on or whatever. Like,
you know who does incredible costumes?
Those Huskies.
Well, Meredith from the Burner Bunch. She had Weller be Elton John last year. It was just
that
insane.
Was so cute.
See, like, where do people find such intricate costumes like that?
I think she made it.
Yeah, you have.
And then the year before, he was like an astronaut, and she made the freaking
that one was so
rocket
cute.
ship. Like, she's so incredible. I just don't understand.
I can't.
The Elton John was just like top notch, though.
Yeah, that just seems so hard. I don't know. Cameron wanted me to be a golfer and him be a caddy, and then I was like, maybe I can make the dogs be golf balls. But they don't have golf ball costumes. They do have disco ball costumes. So then I was like,
you could just put like a ball on them, or like poke like, I don't know.
Like fuck. I was even thinking like fucking paper macheing something. But then I was like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, that would be a lot.
Willow was Ted Lasso one year. Like that's probably my most proud costume, but I couldn't get the mustache. She wouldn't let me put the mustache on her. So,
did you wear it then?
No.
What were you with that costume?
Nothing. I wasn't in it.
Oh,
you should be Daisy Jones.
But then I'd have to get like a wig, like a shitty wig, and like I don't know.
True.
I don't like having to get a wig.
I do also like Heidi Klum's costumes. I always
oh my god.
Yeah.
The worm.
That was fucking weird.
I wonder how much that all cost. Like that was probably thousands of dollars.
Oh,
Didn't she work with like a company last year to do it?
I don't know.
I don't know either. She's funny.
Wow. Right. Happy Halloween and welcome back to another episode of So Glad We're Friends. I'm Maggie.
I'm Devin.
I'm Brittany.
Today, we're going to be reading you guys some scary stories. We asked you to submit
stories.
We asked you to submit your stories from your life or that you've heard before, and we're going to read them today.
Is this coming out on Halloween?
On Halloween.
So everybody has to listen to it on Halloween, otherwise you're going to miss the boat.
And the day after this comes out, we'll be together in person on our trip. So if you're listening to this, then that's exciting.
So fun.
Oh my God.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
It's like really coming soon.
Yeah, fuck. That made me nervous, actually. Like, anxious.
We still have 2 more weekends, which I'm like very excited about.
Yeah. Also, it's good like that we can be so fully honest with each other about feeling anxious about anything. Like I think we all have a very open relationship and communication where like we can say anything.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I hope you feel like that, Dev.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Okay, do we want to read these in order or how do we want to do this?
Yeah, we might as well.
Okay. Do you want me to start? Do you want to start?
You can start.
Okay, I apologize for my reading abilities if I do not do well.
Also, I don't know. I haven't read any of these yet, so I don't. If you don't like scary things, then this might not be for you.
Yeah, these are also like we're blind reacting to them as well. Like we haven't read them, so they might be too scary.
We can always like, after we read them all, we can be like, trigger warning.
True. It's like at the beginning of every Armchair Anonymous episode,
Yeah.
they always say like, don't listen to this one. It's too bad. It's funny. My ring is like popping right now. It's literally disco balling my entire office.
I love that.
Okay. Hey guys, I have a weird, crazy ass story to tell. From 2015 to 2019, I went to Radford University. It's a smallish, medium-ish sized university in Radford, Virginia, like 20 minutes south of Virginia Tech. Anyways, this girl who lived a block down from me brutally murdered her roommate. And I mean brutally.
What the fuck?
A block down, like
That
probably
is so
house-wise.
And the roommate was this girl's best friend. The girl's name is Louisa Cutting, and she stabbed her roommate repeatedly. Her last name being Cutting is wild AF and creepy.
Yeah.
That is. And I guess the days leading up to the murder, Louisa took all these drugs, couldn't sleep, and was showing weird behavior, like praying loudly, reciting Hail Mary in Spanish repeatedly, shoving her hands in her mouth, saying she was part of the apocalypse, and even tweeted that she was dancing with the devil. That is
Holy
terrifying.
shit.
So she was probably like having a psychotic break or something.
Yeah, that's scary.
Especially not being able to sleep. Like people just go crazy.
Yes, you start hallucinating when you're not sleeping.
Oh my god! And what would you do if your roommate was acting like that?
I would not stay there.
No.
Would you know? You wouldn't think you'd be murdered though.
I know. Yeah,
I would not stay there too. I'd be like, I gotta call the dean.
These are less like learning now. Like
yeah, literally. Okay. The craziest part is that it was all over Snapchat, not the murder, holy shit. But when the police showed up, Louisa immediately confessed to what she did and was caught on Snapchat leaving her apartment with a blood-soaked white t-shirt on and crying.
Oh
Ew.
my god.
Oh my god, that's so bad. Oh, imagine just going on Snapchat and then seeing that.
Mm-mm.
My roommate's sorority sister lived in the apartment above Louisa's and heard majority of it, and a different neighbor agreed to call the police. You guys should really research this case. On Reddit, Google, YouTube, etc. There are so many different theories as to why Louisa did this because people were shocked. Louisa was well liked and people could not process it because it was so out of character for her. There's many rumors going around, but a lot of people think Louisa and her roommate were more than besties and maybe it was a love gone wrong situation. Oh shit.
Oh wow.
A 2016 Radford graduate came out on Facebook group a few years ago and said that she used to live in the same apartment and room as Louisa did before Louisa, where the murders took place, and experienced night terrors, nightmares, and sleepwalking. Oh shit.
Oh my god.
The girl said as soon as she moved out, all of that stopped happening. There was also a guy who said that his friend lived across the hall from Louisa, where he would spend the night a lot, and he too experienced sleepwalking. He said it never happened at his house and only when he went to his friend's apartment to spend the night.
Oh my
I just
god.
got goosebumps.
That's crazy.
I wonder if they like have to just tear that building down. Because it's like so possessed.
She literally got
That's
possessed.
crazy because there's so many those are all different theories. Like those are all very different. I would think the most would be like schizophrenia.
Yeah, like the most realistic is that she was mentally unwell and had like schizophrenia or something, but
then all the other people that are like sleepwalking and having
that
like,
is weird.
Yeah, that's really weird.
It's like that Amityville horror movie where the dad gets possessed in the house and then kills his whole family.
Oh my god, I just looked it up. It's It's very real. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
That's only 20?
Yeah. That seems not long enough.
Did they plead insanity or something? Like,
oh, she was sentenced to 40 years in prison.
It's probably like 20 years for this, 20 years for that.
Yeah, after serving 20 years in prison, the remaining 20 years of cutting sentence could be suspended if she gets off on good behavior.
That just reminds me that Maggie wanted to talk about Gypsy Rose.
Oh my god. Gypsy Rose is getting out of jail.
Okay, tell me.
Okay.
You don't know? Did you not? Okay.
There's just like, where do you even begin? Do you know? Okay. Did you hear of the show? Did you hear of any real life?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
With Joey King.
Do you know what Munchausen by proxy is?
Munchausen's.
Is that the one where you like fake your kids?
Yeah, it could be anyone.
Illness?
So Munchausen's is like when you do it to yourself. By proxy is when you do it to somebody else. So it's typically a kid or a spouse or something like that.
Yeah.
So this mom was fucking insane and basically convinced this daughter, Gypsy Rose, her whole life that she had cancer, that she was very sick. Anytime they'd go to doctor's appointments, she wasn't allowed to speak.
She was in a wheelchair,
yeah,
and not allowed to walk.
Yeah,
like,
but she could walk. But
yes.
she would tell her that she couldn't.
Uh-huh.
Like, just all these things. It was, and she would give her pills. Like, she would take a lot of medicine. She wasn't allowed to like communicate with the neighbors too much. They'd move around a lot. Very.
And
freaky.
she would tell her that she was actually younger than she was. So like Gypsy thought she was like 14 when she was actually 19.
That is really creepy. That part is really weird.
That is really, really
weird. And like they would get like free Disneyland trips and shit because she was sick and like things like that.
They had
like, they'd
free
be on
housing.
The news. Yeah, they had free housing. So crazy. So then one day Gypsy starts like going online. Like she starts sneaking phones or computers. I forget exactly how she did that. I think it was one of her mom's devices. She like ends up sneaking into her room when her mom's sleeping. And then eventually she like starts talking to this guy online and he's like 19 or something. And I don't know how old she was at the time. Still a teenager. And they start flirting and whatnot, and then they end up meeting up one day at like the movies. He ends up taking her, and then they make a whole plan to kill her mom so that way she can escape. So the boyfriend ends up killing the mom, and Gypsy's like in the other room, and then they run off together, and she like immediately gets caught like a few days later. Like they did not.
You need to watch the show The Act on Hulu. It is so good.
It's so good. And what's the girl's name?
Joey King and Patricia Arquette are.
Joey King does so incredible at playing her. It's like insane. But so the whole thing is like, should she have even gone to jail? Like, it's good she's getting out of jail. Like, she was very abused. And the weirdest part to me is like, she didn't actually kill her mom. Like, she planned it, but she wasn't the actual one who did it. So then I also wonder about her boyfriend and when he's going to get out.
I think he's not getting out.
Okay. But I feel like he has some mental things.
Yes, he definitely had mental issues. Because he just went along with it.
Yeah, so now she's about to come out and like actually get to talk and like share her whole story and everything when she gets out of jail. So I'm very excited about that.
I hope someone picks up a documentary for her.
What's crazy is she probably experienced more of life in jail than in the real world.
Jail was actually really good for her. There's a documentary, I'm pretty sure, and they did do one when she's in jail too. Yeah.
Wow,
you should watch that.
It's like the most interesting story ever.
It is so interesting, and it's so complex.
It's so scary that parents do that.
Yeah,
it's actually wild, and it was like it's hard for. At the beginning of it, well, I don't know when it started. I'm sure it's been occurring forever. But like when it was first happening and doctors would try to point it out, it was like hard for doctors and nurses to even identify.
And she would change doctors all the time too.
Yeah.
And then be like, we don't have her records and things like that. Or like, we don't have that test or wouldn't let certain tests be done on her. Like,
right. That's wild. Well, I hope like electronic medical records like help that process a lot more because it's crazy. Like that shouldn't really be the case.
That's so true. Like literally my doctor here, without even my knowledge, I don't think like they fully got all my information from my doctors in Arizona.
You probably signed something.
Probably.
Yeah.
But like that is
Yeah. They could just like
true. They
transfer it
just
so
easily
easily.
get things.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Her mom also had a feeding tube in her, and she could only eat like blended up food.
That is
like
insane.
she would
Like, she was
blend up
very
like
malnourished.
turkey and cheese and bread in a blender and like feed it to her.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm
Team Gypsy Rose, honestly.
Me too.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do. And she doesn't know any options. Like, she didn't know ways to help herself or to escape. So when she met a guy and the guy saying this is the way to do it, then she's like, oh, okay, I guess that's what we gotta do.
Yeah, I like that it was straight to murder.
She tried to escape once.
Yeah, they did.
And like whenever she tried to escape once, and when she got caught, like her mom, I think, tied her to the bed for like a week or something. So it's like she couldn't rebel against her mom at all. She would just get punished way worse.
Like, wasn't it that they went to the movies? Like, she went to the movies with her mom and then like met him outside of the movies or something.
Yeah.
It was so crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to read the next one, or do you want?
I'll read the next one. Okay. My parents' house is haunted as shit. When I was like 18 or 19, I had a buddy over. Nobody home besides us. We were watching Third Rock from the Sun. To our right is the doorway to the TV room. We both looked over at the doorway at the same time, then looked at each other and said, "Did you see that guy?" I said, "Yeah." It looked like an Old West cowboy, gray goatee, the tan leather vest, the tan rounded top hat, the jeans, the chaps, the pistol, and ammo belt, the whole shebang.
So descriptive.
So my mom's a horse person. I thought it was one of her friends, so I got up and wandered through the house, and nobody was there.
What? That's so scary, especially because you had confirmation from somebody else.
Yeah,
yes,
like
that's
you didn't
the
see
freaky
it.
part. Okay, so a few weeks later, I was deep asleep. My eyes popped open, and I looked to the doorway of my room, and there's that freaking cowboy again staring at me from around the corner of the door. And in a weird, fluidly quick movement, it disappeared behind the doorway. I shut the door, climbed back in bed, and hid under my covers. I've seen him many times. I've heard spurs clinking through my house. I've smelled tobacco smoke when nobody's around.
What?
Things randomly fly off the shelves. Spooky AF.
Oh my god,
that is spooky. But honestly, like, if there was any ghost, like, I'd want a cowboy.
Okay,
you just hear spurs clicking. Like,
I was just listening to a spooky story podcast yesterday, and somebody else had a story about a cowboy.
What the fuck?
A ghostly cowboy, and the podcast host said the exact same thing.
No way.
If I saw a ghost, I would want it to be a cowboy.
That's so weird.
That is so spooky.
Like, for sure though, like, it's always creepiest if it's like an old woman in like a long dress or something like that.
Yeah, on the podcast she was talking about what the most scary like apparition would be to see. I feel like an old man would be the creepiest, but like in a creepy old man way, not like a friendly, jolly old man.
Yeah.
I feel like an old woman. Like, I think of like the nun and that type of thing, or like when their hair is over their face or things like
the
that.
Ring
That's
or
very
whatever.
scary.
I actually
like
think
demons.
an old woman would be scarier than an old man.
I agree. I don't know why, because normally I'm way more scared of men in every other situation.
I know. Where I'm from in Canada, in a small town about an hour away from me, was one of the most gruesome murders in Canadian history. In 1967, in Shell Lake, Saskatchewan, a man randomly killed an entire family except for two. One grown daughter who had just moved to BC, and I believe a 4-year-old girl. The parents and their other 5 kids were all left dead. There's actually a new podcast about it on Spotify and Apple called The Shell Lake Massacre by Brittany Cassette. It's been trending as well. Feel free to check it out because there's so much more info on it.
So
that is crazy.
Guy broke, not the dad, but a guy broke into the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why he left two.
Killed an entire family.
Well, it sounds like one wasn't living there.
Spared the child. That's
yeah. I wonder if the 4-year-old girl
youngest.
was like hiding or something.
Oh, that is so sad.
It kind of reminds me of the book Dark Places.
I didn't read that. Does the whole family get murdered?
Yeah, except for the youngest girl gets away and the oldest brother doesn't die either, so he's accused. But the book is she's figuring out what really happened and to clear her brother's name, I guess.
That is so scary. That's just like my
That's
worst
really
fear.
freaking.
So scary.
But also, like, at least they make a podcast about me. I'd be happy to have a true crime doc about me.
As the murderer?
No, if I was murdered.
Oh. Yeah.
Not if I was the murderer.
I wonder if the guy got caught or he's still out.
That's a great question.
I do more research on it, I guess.
Yeah.
I want to look it up. Hold on. Just let me quickly look it up. Oh, fuck. He's scary looking.
The murderer?
Yeah. Oh, he killed younger children. There was a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. Yes, he was arrested on August 19th, 1967, about 40 miles southeast of Shell Lake. After his arrest, he told the police that he had fought the devil before the murders and described him as being tall and black and having no genitals. He was remanded to a mental hospital where he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Damn.
Oh, God, that's so scary.
That is so scary because that's like not like it's not his fault, but like it is in a way not your fault to get schizophrenia. Yeah. Like,
and usually with murders like this, they know the person, but this is a completely random, like it could happen to anyone type of thing. Like
that's really scary. I know a few people with schizophrenia actually, and it's like really yeah, and it's really bad. Like, because you don't. Obviously, you can treat it, and if you're taking your medicine and stuff, it can be fine. But in the situations that I know of, it's like fully they think everyone's against them and their family and like fully just off on their own and can't even be a part of their friends or family anymore. It's like really sad.
So sad. Oh, that's so hard. That's like the scariest mental illness.
Yeah.
And that's like he's not even evil. Like he genuinely thought he was fighting a demon.
Yeah.
Okay. This isn't my story, but it's my dad's story that he told my brother and I years ago. My dad was in the Air Force, and he was stationed at Aviano Air Base in Italy at the time, and that base is a really old Air Force base. At the time, he was living in the dorms at the base, and his bed was positioned facing his door and under the only window in his dorm room. He said he always felt kind of like there was paranormal stuff going on at the base and his dorms in general, since it is so old, but he had never experienced anything in his dorm until this night. He said he had gone back to his dorm this night. This was during the summertime. Keep that in mind. And he got into bed and fell asleep. Something woke him up in the middle of the night, and he got up, but he had complete sleep paralysis and could only move his head. He suddenly got chills, and it felt colder in his room, and he looked around to see if he could see anything from where he was. And he said he saw a figure of a person standing in front of his doorway. He said it just stood there at first, and then it started to come towards him and eventually got to the end of his bed where it stopped for a second. And then he said it went through him and out the window above his head. He said right after this figure went out the window, the chills went away and the temperature went back up and he was able to fully move his body again. It always freaked me out because I had been afraid of the dark.
Sleep paralysis, demons.
I've never had sleep paralysis.
So scary.
Have you had it?
God.
Is sleep paralysis when you're like actually awake, but you're sleeping and can't move?
Like, and you can't move.
Maybe it's more of like my dreams that I like have had sleep paralysis where like I want to move but I can't. Like
I've had that before too.
But I think it also kind of has to be partly in your dreams because you usually do see something.
Yeah. Or it's really you're really seeing a demon.
Horrible feeling.
Or that I've always been so scared of that happening. I don't know like why that happens.
Yeah. Also, I definitely, when I've had it, I haven't had it like, I had it like how Brittany described it, but I was sleeping on my back. And I feel like it happens mostly when you sleep on your back.
Mm-hmm. It says sleep experts believe sleep paralysis might be partly genetic. Other causes include stress and disrupted sleep schedules like jet lag or pulling an all-nighter. There's also links between social anxiety or panic disorder. Damn.
So scary. I've heard so many creepy stories about sleep paralysis.
Me too. And then like how do you just have to like tell yourself it's not real or something like But then if he's
You have to, like,
feeling
wake
chills and
Yeah, that's
to, like,
so
wake up
creepy.
and snap out of it.
Next one. When I was young, around early teens, tweens, my family and I moved into a new build house. I always got weird vibes around the top floor bedroom, and I couldn't explain why. Always felt like there was an evil presence. A few months goes by. I end up having to switch my bedroom to that one. One night, I'm having a bad time sleeping, and I have a nightmare. The nightmare was about a little girl that got murdered in this house during the construction by two bad men. I wake up paralyzed in my own body, with one of the men standing over me, looking at me with an evil grin in the dark, and I'm absolutely
fuck?
terrified but cannot move,
Mm-mm.
cannot scream, and I just close my eyes and ignore what I saw. After that day, I could still feel the bad vibes presence, and I couldn't go down the stairs without my back against the wall because I always felt that if I didn't, I would end up falling down the stairs. I did this for weeks until eventually it went away, but I still get the heebie-jeebies to this day when I think about it.
That is fucking
I
terrifying.
wonder if they ever looked up
yeah,
if
that's what I was
someone was
thinking.
actually murdered,
I know.
or if someone is missing. A little girl went missing, because you could be
Mm.
sitting on some, like, I had a dream and I know what happened to the little girl that went missing here.
What?
Like, let's say the little girl just went missing and they don't know what happened to her. This person knows because they
Damn.
dreamt
Yeah.
it.
Go to the police. What was that show? There used to be a show about a medium that like helped solve crime cases and like work with the police department, and it was so good. Maybe it was literally called Medium.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was called Medium from 2005 to 2011. It was so good. Like literally she would solve all the crimes because she would talk to the dead people that got murdered.
That's interesting. If only we had someone like that now.
I know. There actually are people who do that.
Well, I'm sure that's not admissible in court or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that would work. They probably gotta, well, because they can
We
help
talk
find
to the
evidence
ghost.
though. Like they can be
yeah.
like, the knife is in this building. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. That's real freaky.
I wonder how much they can, like, if a medium like knows all those things, or they just know like they were murdered by this person.
I think it depends on the medium.
It depends who they talk to from the dead.
Yeah, and like how they see things.
Okay. My husband and I always said the previous owner of our home, who died here, is haunting the place. She's friendly, but likes to mess with us. Her name is Edna. One night, she locked my husband out of the house. He came home around 9 p.m. and unlocked the front door, but it wouldn't open. I was getting annoyed because I was trying to watch TV and the dogs were barking at him. So I went to the door, thinking maybe he forgot his keys. We have full glass double front doors, so I could see him on the other side. The door was unlocked, but I locked and unlocked anyway, and still no budge. It was clearly unlocked, and you could feel it give a little more versus when it was locked. I was shaking the door trying to open it when it finally opened. Unfortunately, I was moving too quickly and pulled the door shut again. It wouldn't open again until it finally did a few minutes later. We checked every track and opening around the door and found nothing in the way. It's never happened before, and it hasn't happened since.
Whoa, that is
Ooh.
creepy.
Edna?
That's fucking weird. We think Edna was messing with us because we were in the attic earlier that day and got rid of some leftover items that were up there. Sorry, Edna.
Oh. I wonder if they actually like looked up her name or like they just named the ghostie.
I know the previous owner of my house, and he died, but he didn't die here, I don't think.
Really?
But his name is Ward. So if there was ever a ghost, I would know that it was Ward.
Wow. But he didn't die in the house.
I don't think so. I feel like they would have to
tell you,
that
I
to me. Yeah.
I don't know who though. Who has to tell you?
The realtor?
It usually is obvious if like someone dies and like no one's selling the house or like taking it over because it's in like the court or like it's something like that. It's like
Yeah, like the
probation. It's like being sold by the
like
probation.
foreclosed.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is very scary. I would be annoyed too. Like, just open the door.
Yeah, that would freak me out. Like, I know that ghosts aren't really going to do anything to you, but I don't want to know their presence.
There's a book that I read. It was one of the Eileen Hildebrand ones, where it's like about a ghost that was like that died in the attic, like during a fire of the hotel, and then like the story is about like her and then like the people in it. And it's like very interesting.
Is it creepy?
No, not really. It's more like about the people in the story and like less about her, but she still like has moments in it, which I think is kind of interesting.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Did you guys watch The Haunting of Hill House?
No, I want to watch it because I really liked The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Okay, yeah, it's similar to that one, I think. It ruined my life for like...
Why? Because you were scared?
Like, it was so scary. Like, I could not sleep but it was so good that I also watched the entire thing. But like, it did really traumatize me for several months.
I should watch it. Yeah, Bly Manor was really fucking creepy. And there were like jump scares and stuff in it too. So you'd be like...
Yeah, and in Haunting a Hill House, there'll be like a normal scene, but you'll see just like a demon running in the background, like barely, but you like don't necessarily even notice it. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm like really interested in scary stories, but I don't like watching it visually. Like, it scares me, but like I want to know. And there's a podcast that's called Too Scary Didn't Watch, and each episode they tell the plot of a scary movie, so you can learn about what the scary movie is without like being scared and having to watch it.
I love that. When you just said that, that just made me think, do you think that's why murder podcasts are so popular? Because we don't want to watch it. Listening to it is different. And the big thing that is always the sounds of it, like the scary music or whatever. Like if I'm watching a fucking normal TV show and then they're showing a preview for the new Exorcist movie, I'm like, why? It's so terrifying. But it's usually the music, and that's not in podcasts.
Yeah.
I think the visual effects of it too make it really scary.
This podcast that I really love, The Bad Broadcast, every October she does like a whole month of spooky episodes. And last week she did an episode where her best friend told the storyline of a really scary movie. And it was like, it was so interesting. It was so good.
That is so cool. I want to listen to them. Did I ever tell you guys I was in a scary movie?
No.
What? This is like kind of ringing a bell to me.
Me and my friends were all extras in this scary movie called Speak No Evil. It was like a more indie movie. But my stepdad's sister was working on the movie. I don't even remember what she was doing with it. But it was in Phoenix. And we all had to dress up like zombies, and like we got our makeup done and everything. And there was like, we all were like wearing white t-shirts, and then we had to like put blood on it, and they put a bunch of shit all over our clothes. And then there was like a bunch of kids, and we all walked like in a herd towards the camera.
Was it fun?
Basically. Yeah, it was so fun. It was like just one day.
That sounds fun. Yeah.
Never seen the movie. We always talk about it. Like me and my friends.
Well, maybe they did it on the podcast. They can tell you what it was about.
Probably not. I don't think it was a very popular film. That's so funny. Okay, this next one says, this one's short. Unfortunately, there are a lot of gruesome stories from Wisconsin. I don't even know where to start, but my great aunt worked at the Ambrosia chocolate factory at the same time as Jeffrey Dahmer. She said he seemed normal, but he lured men back to his apartment and turned out to be a serial killer / cannibal. This was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's still eerie driving by the area it took place. That is so crazy.
Holy shit.
This girl has DM'd me, actually. I know that because unless there's multiple people whose aunts worked at the same factory as Jeffrey Dahmer. But when I was watching the series, I was like very into the story, and everything's so crazy. And they show the chocolate factory.
Did you finish the series?
Yeah.
I couldn't.
It was very dark.
Oh, it's so like it. Usually I used to say that my favorite serial killer was Jeffrey Dahmer just because it's like so gruesome. Like, but yeah, again, like I can listen to stories about it, but I can't watch the show. It's so
something about that one really. I know it was like bad for the victims too, and like the families didn't want it. But that show, I think, did show the most like empathy towards the victims compared to other murder documentaries. Like it really made you like understand the victims and like feel bad for them more.
Yeah.
That's insane.
God, I don't understand how he came off as normal. He seems
I don't know. He seemed
so
so
fucking
very
weird.
awkward. I think he
So
definitely
weird.
probably was socially awkward.
Yeah.
I also
can't
wonder
even
if he was
imagine.
allowed to be gay. Like if no, because he still had all the creepy tendencies.
What do you mean?
Like, because I don't know. I feel like partly when people were very, very, very homophobic and like he wasn't allowed to
Oh.
express that at all, then he had to express it in ways of sneaking men and killing them.
Well, he's been fucked up since he was a kid. Like,
yeah, the animals and shit.
Yeah. But he's like one of the serial killers that I think had like a more normal childhood, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he was
his
like left a
parents
lot.
weren't-
It was like
Okay.
neglectful. Like they didn't really take
Okay.
care of him. And
But his dad would like try to bond with him by finding roadkill to like
What the
dissect
fuck?
with him, because that was the only thing that he was interested in.
That Jeffrey was interested in.
Yeah, like his dad would try to bond with him over like, baseball or sports, and he didn't care about that stuff. And then one day when he found roadkill, it was like, oh, this is something that we can bond over.
I'm sorry, but if my future child is like, Mom, we need to do all these activities with these dead animals, I would be like, we need to also make a therapy appointment.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so freaky.
Animals are like the number one sign, but I wonder if they didn't know that back then.
Probably not.
Yeah. Or like that might not be something that you tell your doctors, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
because you're
you might
probably
not be like,
embarrassed.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd be so embarrassed. It would be something I'm like, yeah, my son
kid,
loves
yeah.
it.
Especially
Or like you don't
yeah.
Ugh.
They're like, what hobbies does he like? Does he play any
Taxidermy?
sports? That is so bad.
Ugh.
It's kind of, like when you're younger though, you're not like allowed, I think, technically to go to the doctor like by yourself. Like you have to have a parent in the room. But like at the same time, like both sides of the coin, like you almost want the doctor to be able to talk to the parents alone. And then you also want the kid to be able to talk to the doctor alone, because what if like they lift up their shirt and like they see a bruise and they're like, what's this from? And they can't say that was from mom or like that was from dad.
That's so true.
Based on the medical dramas that I watch, I feel like doctors can usually be like, can I talk to your kid?
My pediatrician definitely always made my parents leave for like 5 minutes at some point, but I don't remember me ever having to leave, which it does seem like it'd be important to talk to the parents alone.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be both sides.
But the parents have like they're adults, so they can be like, can we talk to you?
Yeah, true.
The last minute without Jeffrey in the room.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yikes.
Yeah, he's a scary one. Okay. It's not a long story, but I had this best friend in high school who, with her older brother, used to play with a Ouija board all the time. Every time I'd go to spend the night at her mom's house, we'd hear scratching on her closed door and breathing in our ear, even though it would just be us at home. Stop staying there after the third or fourth time it happened. They were letting the demons in.
Why are you doing that just all the time? Like,
did you guys used to play with Ouija boards?
No. Yeah, I think I told my story in our last Halloween episode with the whole ghost, and go listen to last year's if you want to hear that. But I was majorly haunted. My friend thought she was possessed, came to my front door. It was a whole thing.
I used to play with the Ouija boards and nothing ever happened.
Well, would you sometimes be the person who was like moving it?
No, but I definitely think that there were people moving
sometimes.
it. Yeah.
Well, it was the day my beloved granny got buried. I struggled the whole day because of the funeral. I worked at home and took a shower before I had to leave. After the shower, I laid in bed for a second to put myself together. I scrolled through Instagram to distract myself for a moment. Suddenly, the starry sky projector crashed from the wardrobe next to me. I was so scared, and my dog Wilma was too. She starts barking and races downstairs. When I say it crashed, it literally hovered over the ground. The clothes at the wardrobe were moving. My dog sniffs carefully in the corner where the projector lays down. It was one of the scariest but also sweetest goodbyes I've ever had.
Aw, Granny.
Interesting.
I actually love stories like that.
I love signs, but like I'd be like, Grandma, yo, like show me a hummingbird. You don't gotta knock my whole thing down. Like, don't be scaring me.
Also, that person was from Germany, so
yeah,
the wardrobe. Do you guys believe that though? Like that loved ones can give signs or like do things like that?
Yeah,
I like to believe it. Like I give in to the. I don't know.
I do too. I loved Chelsea Handler had an episode of her podcast one time with a psychic on it.
Yes.
And they were talking about because Chelsea, her thing is oranges. When she sees oranges, that like is reminds her of her brother. And just the way that the psychic was talking about it was like really, really cool and interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I hate when people like shut down these ideas because you know there's no scientific evidence.
I don't think you need it.
But those people also believe in God, so. No,
my dad doesn't. And my dad's like,
oh, there are some people who are like, that's how my brother-in-law is, like, doesn't believe in anything, like, just nothing after death.
Yeah, he even gets mad when we talk about, like, astrology.
Really?
It's like, just let us have our, like, how is this hurting anyone that we like to look for signs or believe?
Also, like, the moon controls the tides. That is science.
I know. Yeah.
There's got to be some shit.
Astrology is more of a science than, like, I don't know, paranormal activity or
for sure
afterlife or whatever.
Yeah.
This podcast I was listening to, Still the Bad Broadcast, she was saying that like I think whatever happens after you die is something that we can't even fathom.
That's
our stupid little human brains can't even dream it up, like because it's so complex and so out of this world that like we could never find the answer or even try to make an estimate about what happens. Because like imagine 100 years ago somebody trying to dream up, like imagine internet, that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, they couldn't even.
Like it's not something that you can grasp with your human brain with limited knowledge.
I agree. That's how I think it'll be.
Unless we're in a simulation.
Yeah, unless. Would you rather it be nothing? Like you just die and then there's just nothing? Or that you'd want to be able to float around?
I think we get reunited with our dogs.
I think so too. Did you see this? There's a TikTok that was like, everyone talks about the Rainbow Bridge, but nobody talks about how many animals you have in your lifetime and how you're going to come up there and they're going to be like, Scott, you got 12 dogs, 2 pigs, you got a parrot, you got your hamster from when you were 10. You got a whole farm waiting for you.
Yep.
I hope we don't have, I don't think I need to see my guinea pig.
Yeah, I don't
your
know.
guinea pig's up there like, damn. Waiting its whole existence. Okay, last story. I was playing hide and seek with my little brother when we were younger. I was hiding and he was seeking. I was in his room and he was taking quite a while to find me. I see him run into my room next door to his, and he suddenly comes running directly towards me and finds me. I asked him, how do you know where I was all of a sudden? And he said, the man in your mirror told me where you were hiding.
Oh, fuck no.
That's freaky.
That's creepy.
What the frick? I wonder how young they were, too.
The man in your mirror. Yeah, there's so many ghost stories of, like, little kids seeing spirits or whatever.
Also, could that just be... No, because it was separate rooms. He couldn't have just seen her, like, in a reflection of an actual mirror. Yeah. Separate rooms.
Yeah. Ugh, that creeps me out.
Same.
Do you guys have any, like, what are those stories that aren't real, but, like, people tell them? I forgot what the word is.
Is that a
tales?
Parable?
No, they're like scary stories that aren't actually real. Like there's that one where the girl was driving home at night and the person behind her kept flashing their brights. Do you know that story?
Did we read that last year?
No, it's like a story that a lot of people know and like you tell it at sleepovers and it's like it's not real. Okay, so this girl is leaving a party late at night and she gets in her car and she starts driving down like this deserted road on her way home, and there's a car following her, and the car keeps flashing its brights at her. And so she's starting to get freaked out. Like, why does this car keep flashing their brights at me? She finally, like, honestly, I don't know how it ends. I'll just something up. She finally gets home, and the guy who was following behind her gets out of his car and says, hurry, get out of your car. And she finds out that there's somebody in her back seat. And every time he was going up to like attack her from behind, the guy that was following her would flash his bright so that he would duck back down. So the person that was following her was trying to save her.
Terrifying.
But it's like oh my God, what is the word? I need to see what the freaking word is. I don't even know what to Google.
Fake scary stories. Name for fake scary stories. That is very creepy. Did you guys see the fucking TikTok video the other day of the girl who literally she parks in a parking lot and they showed the security camera footage of like another car following her from the other side. She parks and then within 5 seconds a car comes up from behind her. They hop out. He like ducks down to go to the side of her window, opens her door and starts like trying to, I don't know, steal her car or whatever. She starts screaming at the top of her lungs and honks the horn, and they end up like running away and driving off, and somebody else in the parking lot came to help her. But like that is so scary.
That is so scary.
And sometimes your car just unlocks itself when you put it in park.
Mm-hmm. I saw something like that and it made me realize that my car does not automatically just lock when I get in.
Neither does
my old car did not either. And we like living in Chicago, especially when everyone was getting hijacked, we like were so good about like locking it.
Oh yeah, that is so scary.
Creepypasta.
Creepypasta. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
That's what it is.
I always wonder, like, I hope in a situation like that I would scream or think to honk the horn or something, but like I worry that I would just freeze or something.
Yeah, because the reactions are fight, flight, or freeze. Mm-hmm. I think I would freeze too.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Which is like when you start trying to like do something when you're scared, you know, like if you're trying to unlock your door or something, it's like so much harder because you're shaking and freaking out. Like I'm not good under pressure.
Yeah, me either at all. Damn. Okay, can I tell the story about when I was a child in elementary school?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is this your friend's story?
Yeah, well, it's both of ours. Technically happened to both of us, but more closely to her. So my best friend Victoria, we met in 3rd grade and have been best friends ever since. But basically our school was like elementary school and middle school together as one school. So we had a music teacher, don't know if I should use her real name, that taught the whole middle school and all of elementary school. Like everyone would go to her for music class. So it was like everyone was her student, basically. Victoria lived next door to this music teacher, directly next door. They're neighbors. One day, our music teacher's ex-husband came into her house, broke into it, and brutally stabbed her to death. Horribly. Like it was like a very brutal murder. There was like blood everywhere. It was like big crime scene. It was huge news. That obviously for Victoria, it was like the whole street like blocked off, cops everywhere. Next day at school, like we had cops there. It was just like so crazy. We had a whole like memorial thing for the teacher.
Wow, that is so sad. How old were you guys at that time?
Probably like 4th or 5th grade, I think.
Oh my God.
Was Victoria home when it happened?
Yeah, it was like in the middle of the night.
Does she remember like hearing anything? Or
no, maybe there was some. I feel like maybe there was a scream or something because there was something that like her daughter called or something. I forget the exact situation, but something happened where the daughter ended up knowing it was happening, but it was like too late to save her.
Oh my God.
Did you guys
so sad.
Have you guys seen that girl who's like her thing is let's not rot or something on TikTok?
That sounds kind of familiar, but I don't know.
So I don't know like all the details of the story, but her mom and dad divorced. Like I don't know exactly what time frame, but I think her mom was like living with her for a period of time. And or like I can't remember exact situation. Either way, her dad like goes back to their childhood home and murders her mom and then kills himself and like burns the house down. So like
she wasn't there.
She doesn't. Yeah, she wasn't there. Like she was like older at the time,
like an adult.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh
Is she the girl that starts every TikTok with "It's been 3 years since my dad murdered my mom"?
Oh my god, I know
so.
who you're
And then it's like,
talking
let's
about.
not rot.
Okay, yeah,
And
that,
then, like, let's
it's
not
really
rot.
sad. That's
Let's not
I
rot in
can't
our
even
grief.
imagine.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
I remember. Yes.
But like the story is really
that's
like
so
crazy and scary because it's just like.
And you usually
the other thing is she like because like he burned the house down, which is kind of like the not scary part, but just like horrible part. Like she doesn't have any like memories of.
Oh my god, that's
and then you
horrible.
hate your dad.
Yeah.
Like you can't resolve that relationship in your head ever. And oh my god. Also like we hear these stories or we see like fiction about stories like this, but you don't ever really hear like the victims don't typically have a TikTok to like.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's why I love the Jordan Turpin story too, because it's like so interesting to hear first-hand accounts. Have you guys been getting fucking like 911 calls on your For You page? Because I get that quite a lot, and I don't love it.
No.
Isn't it crazy that that's like public?
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, I forgot that is public, isn't it?
Like, I just listened to this one the other day, fully real. Like, it happened in the 90s or something. This mom calls and she goes, I just stabbed both my daughters. Like, one of them's dead, one of them's still alive. I need you to come help. And they're like, okay, where are you? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, not really giving information. She went to an abandoned house on the side of a freeway and took them there. And one of the daughters was like 12 and one of them was like 9 or something. And they ended up getting there in time and saved the youngest daughter that she stabbed. But you can hear the daughter like in the background of the phone call, and she's like grunting and she's like, help, please. And the mom's like, she's begging to be saved now. She wants to be saved. So can you come help her? Like, just clearly very unwell.
Yeah. Holy shit.
It's really crazy that these things happen in real
Maggie
life.
is probably like now asking for more.
I know. I interact with all of them. Listen to a full 9-minute call.
Definitely.
I always get into those where it's like a fucking 40-part series of like a cop arresting somebody or like a phone call or something. Don't you get into those?
I can't imagine doing that job.
A 911 call? No. Did you see that movie with Halle Berry? The Call? Where the girl is like stuck in she gets kidnapped and she's calling.
I watched like 2 long TikToks of it.
That's a good movie.
And that was enough for me. Like that was so intense.
That is a good movie. That was smart. She like kicks out the taillight and then there's like a can of paint in the trunk. So she like pours the paint out while they're on the highway. So then they
still aren't fucking finding her.
Yeah, they were not.
Like, I can't believe how like the whole movie they're trying to save her, I guess.
Yeah, it's actually very scary.
Ugh.
I could not be a 9. And you have to be like really calm the whole time. You can't show any fear, and you have to just keep asking them questions.
These people's lives can be in your hands depending on how you handle these situations.
Yeah.
And you like form this bond with this person depending on what the call situation is, and then you hang up and you don't know how it happens.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, that is
I wonder
freaky.
if there's a way for them to like track it afterwards.
I think there's like a rule where they're not allowed even or something, because I saw this one girl say that she ended up finding out after the fact because she was like friends with one of the EMTs or something in a certain situation. But like normally you just don't ever find out.
Yeah.
Dude, one of my dad's employees got arrested last night for drunk driving in one of his company vehicles, and he hit somebody else.
Oh, that sucks.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's really crazy.
Random, but I don't know why people drunk drive in company vehicles.
I know, it's so stupid.
Yeah, don't take your company car.
Oh, God. It's so dumb. And then they saw white powder, so the cops had to search it for drugs, but it ended up just being cigarette ash. No coke.
Damn. The coke probably would have helped him drive better.
Very true.
That's funny. Okay, well, when we see you guys next week, we will be together in person. Our next several episodes will be together in person. So we're so excited for you guys to listen to those and watch them on YouTube because we'll be together.
Yes. You have to watch those on YouTube.
Yes.
Those are going to be the best.
But also listen on Spotify because I don't want like our analytics to tank, you know? So do both.
Do both. Listen to at least 30 seconds of each. That's funny. Okay, anything else?
Nope, I don't think so. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, we hope you guys have a happy Halloween. Get lots of your favorite candy. Ooh, what's your favorite candy?
Oh, I like dark chocolate Milky Ways.
Me too, Britt.
So good.
I love dark chocolate.
Me
but
too.
on Halloween, I'm more of like a mini Snickers girl.
Oh, the mini Snickers are good. Do they have dark chocolate Snickers?
Yes.
I also like those little Sour Punch. Like
Those
they're
are
like
my
2
favorite.
inches long in the little individual wrappers.
That's what I was going to
I don't
say.
know if I've
That
seen
and dark
those
chocolate
ones.
Milky Way. But they never give out dark chocolate on Halloween.
Yeah.
That's not.
Because young kids don't
Well, it
like dark
depends
chocolate. It's
on-
more of a elevated palate.
I think it depends on the pack that you get, because I remember getting a bunch of dark chocolate Milky Ways and trading them with people. Were you
Yeah,
guys
me too. I didn't
traders?
want
Like,
them.
Did you guys like organize the candy and then like,
Yes.
swap?
Yeah, I wasn't ever really a candy kid, so I would just like give away most of it and just eat like the dots and the sour straws.
You
The
like
dots?
dots.
I did when I was a kid. I do
Those
not
are
eat them
so
now.
Those were like the worst candy, I think.
I love.
Do you guys
them when
like
I was
candy
little.
corn?
No.
Yeah, I do.
I could
Actually,
eat,
I've never
I'll eat
had
a
it.
couple of them.
Interesting.
There's like pure sugar packed into.
Oh, like a lollipop.
No, it's like soft.
Candy
like-
corn?
Yeah.
It's the orange and yellow thing with the white tip.
Yeah. But it's not like a lollipop hard. It's softer.
I just meant like a lollipop, like made of sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. You know what candy corn is, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never had it though.
She doesn't know what it tastes like.
It is kind of a weird texture if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, texture's what gets me.
I should go get some Halloween candy.
I was thinking I should go get some before
someone
it
said
sells
this
out.
to me. Someone said that you should always buy the holiday candy because it's the freshest. And I was like,
Smart. I'm going to
That's
go buy
interesting.
myself a bag.
You're gonna have to leave out a bucket though, Britt, because your flight leaves at like 5:30 a.m. the next day.
I know. I wonder. But I don't think we had that many people come by last year.
Yeah, I wonder how this
We
new
just
house
like
will
turned
be.
off our lights. We were just like, nobody's home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
COVID really changed trick or treating.
Yeah. I always go to
Sad.
my mom's house. I sneak out before anyone starts coming to my house.
Yeah. I wish though, like I always envisioned that Halloween would be like in Halloween Town or in these movies where there's just kids lining the streets
Yeah.
in their costumes and like I wish it
That's
was
like
that
how
way.
it used to be when I was younger.
Yeah.
In certain neighborhoods, I think it's like that. Like there are a few neighborhoods in my area.
Yeah.
And what's
Everyone
weird
goes.
is like everybody leaves
Yep.
their neighborhoods and goes to like these neighborhoods.
hmm
Well, people start talking and they're like, this is they always have the
Mhm.
best candy, or
And
they always
neighbors
have the
just like
cutest
sit
hair.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
Fun times.
Very fun. Okay, well, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We will see you next week. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join our Facebook community. Follow us and leave us a rate and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Happy Halloween.
Woo.